Canada says will recognize Palestinian state in September amid growing Gaza crisis. Canada has announced it will recognize the state of Palestine in September at a meeting of the United Nations. The announcement by Prime Minister Mark Carney came on Wednesday, as the country put up pressure on Israel amid the growing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Speaking to reporters, Carney said that the reality on the ground, including starvation of people in Gaza, meant the prospect of a Palestinian state is literally receding before our eyes. Canada condemns the fact that the Israeli government has allowed a catastrophe to unfold in Gaza, he said. Carney said the planned recognition was based in part on repeated assurances from the Palestinian Authority, which represents the state of Palestine at the United Nations, that it was reforming its governance and is willing to hold general elections in 2026 in which Hamas can play no part. Canada's announcement falls in line with France, which, last week, had announced that it would recognize a Palestinian state. A day before, Britain had said it would recognize the state at September's UN General Assembly meeting if the fighting in Gaza, part of the Palestinian territories occupied by Israel, had not stopped by then. Israel and the USSR more nations announced they would recognize the state of Palestine. Israel and its closest ally, the United States, rejected the statements, specifically those of Carney's. In a statement, the Israeli Foreign Ministry said, "The change in the position of the Canadian government at this time is a reward for Hamas and harms the efforts to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza and a framework for the release of the hostages." Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made similar comments after the French and British announcements. Earlier this month, he said he wanted peace with Palestinians but described any future independent state as a potential platform to destroy Israel, so control of security must remain with Israel. In a post on his social media platform Truth Social, US President Donald Trump threatened he would not make a trade deal with Canada if it goes ahead with recognizing the state of Palestine. Wow! Canada has just announced that it is backing statehood for Palestine. That will make it very hard for us to make a trade deal with them. Oh Canada! Sick, Trump wrote on Truth Social. Earlier, a White House official said Trump also sees recognition of the state of Palestine as wrongly rewarding Hamas. However, French President Emmanuel Macron, who spoke with Carney before Canada's announcement, said the recognition of Palestine will revive a prospect of peace in the region. Outrage over Israel's restriction on food in Gaza. The announcements by some of Israel's closest allies reflect growing international outrage over Israel's restrictions on food and other aid to Gaza in its war against Hamas, and the dire humanitarian crisis there. A global hunger monitor has warned that a worst-case scenario of famine is unfolding in the enclave, Reuters reported. Meanwhile, the Gaza Health Ministry reported 7 more hunger-related deaths on Wednesday, including a 2-year-old girl with an existing health condition. The Hamas-run government media office in Gaza said the Israeli military killed at least 50 people within 3 hours on Wednesday as they tried to get food from UN aid trucks entering the northern Gaza Strip. The state of Palestine has been a non-member observer state of the UN General Assembly since 2012, recognized by more than 3/4 of the Assembly's 193 member states. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said the United Nations and its partners had been able to bring more food into Gaza in the first 2 days of pauses, but the volume was still far from enough. The war began on October 7, 2023, when Hamas led attacks on communities and military bases in southern Israel in which some 1,200 people were killed, including more than 700 civilians, and another 251 taken as hostages to Gaza, according to Israeli tallies. Swipe left for next video. Since then, Israel's offensive in the Gaza Strip has killed more than 60,000 people and laid waste to much of the territory, the Gaza Health Ministry says. Also read drawing a line in the sand. Can UN conference's two-state solution end Israel-Palestine conflict? Latest blogs.